nobody can give you a career guideline or career guidance or counseling in the field of media today, because if you really want to be a true journalist, an honest, upright journalist, you have no career in the current context in India. You're going to be a poor freelancer who would be gathering stories at your own risk that no editor will have the courage to publish, and if you put them up on your own social media channels, you start your own website and your own channels, the government will come after with all kinds of IT rules that they will force you to follow because you have now become a news media agency. So basically that's what I'm saying, that the truth is that there is not much career in the field of for a true journalist today. Today we are living in a post-truth world where the role of public sphere was to focus on truth. Now we are in a post-truth world where the powers that be is telling us that there is no truth. It's okay to feel however you feel. It's okay to just get swayed by your base instincts. It's okay to answer your basic instincts of jealousy, fear, insecurities, hate, and there is no need for us to be policed in terms of how we will behave with the others. It's kind of because media was a liberal institution, media remained very sort of a monitor. It kind of remained. It played the role of a monitor for the society. It's very easy to give in to fear and insecurity about somebody we don't understand. It's easy to otherize people who don't look like us or sound like us. Easy to give in to these things. It's very natural. And what the right-wing governments across the globe these days are doing is that they're playing up these basic instincts and fear and sentiments just for political purposes to gain political power. The media, for the longest time, till the probably 80s or even 90s, monitored this. The media was the mouthpiece of the sensible and the intellectual and the more knowledgeable big brother who understood better. अगर दो भाई लड़ रहे हैं आपस में and they are saying कि इसने में 2 अंडे ज़्यादा खा लिए या मम्मी ने उसको 1 glass दूध ज़्यादा दे दिया. So the media was this big, sort of the monitor or the moderator of the society, which will come and say, it's the right thing to give a glass of milk extra to the weaker child. The media will tell you, and you will, as a citizenry, sort of listen and understand. So that idea of right and wrong and not just suddenly react to your basic instincts was done by media. But today, thanks to a time when we have now become consumers and media agencies are driven by profit and things like, clickbait and political sort of, convenience. I mean, the media agencies, channels, newspapers, they need the government to be on their side, and then they need the corporate to be on their side. So they're all of them are colluding in a way that they are now giving into this sort of, these basic instincts and are saying, what, doesn't matter. Truth does not matter. Whatever suits you, you do it. Whatever the majority decides, we will do. हम तो बस यही करेंगे. We are seeing that on every issue in the country, there are two opinions emerging. Why? Because the media has now become that body or that vehicle which is capable of carrying this other idea, that it is okay to brazen out your hate. It is okay to go out there and say the things which seem so bizarre and so provocative. It's okay. It's okay to say, it's okay to do a hate sammelan and in the name of religion, a dharam sammelan, and then call out genocide of certain kind of community. And just simply, डंके की चोट पे हेट को फैलाने का ये जो एक हमने बना लिया है माहौल हमारे देश में और ये सारी दुनिया में हो रहा है. It is possible because of the nature of the media that has, the way media has now turned into a post-truth vehicle where there is the line between morality, line between right and wrong, line between truth and false have sort of all got blurred. The media is here becoming that vehicle which legitimizes the kind of ideas that seemed impossible to us, that seemed unacceptable to us, which seemed so against our morality and ethics that we would never say those things in public. But media today has become that vehicle to legitimize those kind of narratives. Coming now to how do we now therefore create a career in this kind of an atmosphere? What are our roles as journalists in this kind of an atmosphere? I think it's one of the most important things to remember, that media cannot be anything but liberal. You have to be liberal, because media's genesis is liberal. It is impossible for a media house to stand with the government, because the whole idea is to oppose whoever is in power. In 2012, 2013, the Indian media, when we used to see television channel after channel, there was government bashing, there was talk about corruption, and we were like, wow, India has such brave media. Look at us, look at how we are grilling the government day in and day out. And the media was so powerful that because of those grilling, the government lost its power. But then when the satta changed, we realized कि वही मीडिया अब उसी साइड में बैठे हैं, उन्होंने अपना साइड चेंज नहीं करा. वही जर्नलिस्ट जो राहुल गांधी की ग्रिलिंग कर रहा था, वो तुरंत विनिंग के इलेक्शन सत्ता बदलने के बाद उसने अपनी जगह नहीं बदली, उसने उसी तरफ जहां पे गवर्नमेंट की जगह है वहां पे उसी साइड में बैठा रहा, टेबल के उसी साइड में वो बैठा रहा, और अब वो सरकार का हो गया पालतू. So what is our role today is that you have to be liberal. If you're a career journalist, whose job is to simply take dictations from the various ministers in the government and whatever they said, you take a note and take dictation and you type it out on your computer and file it to your editor. That's it. That's your career. If that's what you want to do, that's also fair enough. Fine, you at the end of the day have to put food on your table, you have to support your family, you have to earn money. But reporting also includes questioning. When you go to a press conference, you're supposed to ask difficult questions that they will find difficult to answer. Questions that the answer is going to embarrass the person in power. Your role is to grill the government, keep a sharp eye on the government कि कहीं चूक ना कर जाए अपने जवाबदेही में, अपने responsibility में. But what we don't see these days, we don't see anybody grilling the government at all. The government does not even have press conferences. The Prime Minister has not held press conference for a long time. So as a journalist, as a true journalist, your job is to not just take dictation, but to grill the government, to file RTI, go take the stories and find out where is the government telling the lies, where are the government lies, dig for the government lies, not the opposition lies, but the government lies. The idea is to be on the other side of the power, whoever is in power, irrespective of the party. And because a lot of you were just probably barely born in the 2000s and have no idea how the media used to be back in the days when NDTV was the only channel, or before that when there was just Doordarshan. When there was just Doordarshan and it was a government media, journalists, even back then, were only grilling government. Journalists used to be known as the most negative people, जो किसी चीज से कभी खुश नहीं होते थे, हमेशा झोला उठाकर बस नेगेटिविटी फैलाते थे पूरे देश में. हम लोग बचपन में तंग आ जाते थे, बोलते थे यार these journalists are like so boring and so negative, चाहे सरकार कुछ भी करे इनको खोट ही निकालना है सरकार ने. I remember living through those days. People don't realize this. People think that this so-called Latvians media and Khan market media, whatever, it's all propaganda. There was no such thing that when the media was out and out in support of government, out and out doing a bhakti of the government, a reverence of those in power, of the Prime Minister. Yes, there were people who were always sort of, a little bit pliant, a little bit biased. There were always those kind of individuals throughout the ages. But as an institution, media was supposed to be in opposition to the government. So coming back to as a career, your role is to change that constant imagery that those in power are trying to reinforce in the societies. For example, these very damning, scary headlines that so and so arrested for सेडिशन, किसी ने फेसबुक पे कुछ लिख दिया, उस पे सेडिशन का केस हो गया, उसको अरेस्ट कर लिया, या किसी फलाने ने किसी का नारा दे दिया उसको अरेस्ट कर लिया, जबकि सेडिशन का केस बनता नहीं है. Cases after cases, sedition, UAPA, professors, teachers, college, university students getting targeted by using law as a weapon by those in power, and then very scary headlines are being made. What we don't see is what happens to that case 6 months down the line. We do not see a follow-up. So as a journalist, I think it is very important to do follow-up on these very dangerous, damaging headlines कि भाई उसका वो अरेस्ट हो गया था, उसके बाद क्या हुआ, या किसी पे FIR तो हो गया, क्या वो FIR आगे कुछ हुआ? Because you know why? Because there is a certain section of people who wants to create that terrorizing effect in the society, which says that if you say something about हमारे मंत्री जी के बारे में कुछ बोला फेसबुक पे, तो तुम्हारे पे केस हो जाएगा. तो वो केस हो जाएगा तक ही हेडलाइन को सीमित रखना चाहते हैं वो लोग नहीं चाहते हैं कि उस केस का आगे क्या हुआ. क्या वो एक एम्पावरिंग हेडलाइन जो होता है कि वो केस रिजेक्ट हो गया, उस केस में कुछ बन नहीं पाया, सेडिशन का केस नहीं बन पाया, एविडेंस नहीं जुटा पाई पुलिस ने इनको छोड़ दिया. That is an empowering headline. Nobody wants the society today to see headlines that give the impression that the citizen has some power. The kind of time we are living, the prevailing narrative that the media wants to keep is that the government is all powerful. So as a journalist, you have to find that headline which empowers the citizen, which gives the message that, you know what, government may come after you on flimsy reasons for your individual opinions, but you can fight and you can win. I think that's an important that search for that headline, search for stories where the government would be embarrassed, search for corruption in the government schemes, search for the truth, dig the lies and find out where the government is lying.